Now, I was hiding out, trying to get some writing done in a cabin in New Hampshire, and only appearing in the evening. And one day, somebody I knew said to me, well, what do you do for breakfast? And I said, well, I eat oatmeal in my cabin. And he said, giving me an intent look, alone? And the next morning when I was cooking my oatmeal, I thought over the implications of his question. And after I had eaten my oatmeal, wrote, oatmeal. I eat oatmeal for breakfast. I make it on the hot plate and put skimmed milk on it. I eat it alone. I am aware it is not good to eat oatmeal alone. Its consistency is such that it is better for your mental health if somebody eats it with you. That is why I often think up an imaginary companion to have breakfast with. Possibly it is even worse to eat oatmeal with an imaginary companion. Nevertheless, yesterday morning I ate my oatmeal, porridge as he called it, with John Keats. Keats said I was absolutely right to invite him, due to its glutinous texture, gluey lumpishness, hint of slime, and unusual willingness to disintegrate. Oatmeal must never be eaten alone. He said that in his opinion, however, it is perfectly okay to eat it with an imaginary companion, and he himself had enjoyed memorable porridges with Edmund Spenser and John Milton. Even if eating oatmeal with an imaginary companion is not as wholesome as Keats claims, still you can learn something from it. Yesterday morning, for instance, Keats told me about writing the Ode to a Nightingale. He had a heck of a time finishing it. Those were his words. "Oi, had a heck of a twine," he said, speaking through his porridge. He said he wrote it quickly on scraps of paper, which he then stuck in his pocket. But when he got home, he couldn't figure out the order of the stanzas. And he and a friend spread the papers on a table, and they made some sense of them, but he isn't sure to this day if they got it right. An entire stanza may have slipped into the lining of his jacket through a hole in the pocket. He still wonders about the occasional sense of drift between stanzas, and the way here and there a line will go into the configuration of a Mahomet prayer, then raise itself up and peer about, then lay itself down slightly off the mark, causing the poem to move forward with God's reckless wobble. He said someone told him that later in life, Wordsworth heard about the scraps of paper on the table and tried shuffling some stanzas of his own, but only made matters worse. I would not have known about any of this but for my reluctance to eat oatmeal alone. When breakfast was over, John recited To Autumn. He recited it slowly, with much feeling, and he articulated the words lovingly, and his odd accent sounded sweet. He didn't offer the story of writing To Autumn. I doubt if there is much of one, but he did say that the sight of a just harvested oat field got him started on it. And two of the lines, "For summer has o'erbrimmed their clammy cells," and "Thou watchest the last oozings hours by hours," came to him while eating oatmeal. I can see him, throwing a spoon through the stuff, gazing into the glimmering furrows, muttering, and it occurs to me, maybe there is no sublime, only the shining of the amnion's tatters. For supper tonight, I'm going to have a baked potato left over from lunch. I am aware that a leftover baked potato is damp, slippery, and simultaneously gummy and crumbly, and therefore I'm going to invite Patrick Kavanagh to join me.